Hi, welcome to the first episode of Your Genesis. So, the reason I'm creating this series of talks is because I have lived a life that I think has been a great life. And I know other people who've lived the same life. And there's a key to doing it. And if you want to live a good life, then I hope that you will listen to this. I especially am talking to young people, what we call the millennial generation, because my generation has led you in the wrong way. When I was young, my generation rebelled against their parents and went the wrong direction. Some ways I think it'd be good for you guys to rebel against the way you've been taught. Either way, I want you to learn something that can help you. Remember, if you want things to change, nothing will change as long as everything remains the same. And so with that, let's dive into Genesis. Genesis is the beginning. What's the beginning of your life? And so what we need to do is we need to figure out where our start was, where our beginning was. You may say, well, it's from my mom and my dad, but you're part of a bigger picture. You're part of a universe, a world, and that world had a beginning. And you need to come to a place where you have a good, solid belief about your beginning. Not what you were taught in school or what you were just fed and you kind of thought, well, that sounds like a good thing, but something you've actually meditated on and thought about. Now, to me, my understanding, there's really only two ideas of origin. Either we are here by a random chance process. You start with matter. The physical materials that make up our universe, that's matter. You start with that, and somehow that matter was formed into what we have today. And there's a philosophy that was formed without any thought or intelligence or design. And so it had to be basically like a random chance process, just something that happened to take place, and here we are. Or you believe that in the beginning there was a creator and a designer. And of course, a lot of people say, well, where did God come from? But the same question can be, where did matter come from? We just don't know, and we can't let that bother us. We just have to move past that there are just things about this universe that we don't understand and probably never will, such as the origin, the exact origin. Where did matter come from, or where did the God who made matter come from? Either way, that's an unanswerable question, at least for now. So we have to make a decision. And so what I want you to do is think for a moment. If you were created just out of a random chance, if we were just brought into this universe and you're just here, and there really was no purpose in the design. There was no purpose in animals. There was no purpose in plants. There was no purpose in human beings. It just happened. And just saying that to me sounds like a ridiculous thing to even say, but nevertheless, there's people that believe it. So you may believe that too. Or that in the beginning there was someone or something that had intelligence, that thought of this plan, that thought there needed to be sun, and there needed to be water, and there needed to be plants and animals, and they all needed to work together into a system, and there was a purpose behind that. So what I would like you to do is pause this video, turn off everything you have, and sit for at least 5 or 10 minutes, and just ponder that thought. What kind of world is this, and what kind of world do you want it to be? And then really come to some sort of idea. I know you probably can't even do it in 10 minutes, but just begin that process. So I want you to take that time, just be totally quiet. And it's really hard for people today to be that way. But just calm yourself down and be quiet and pause this video and then think about it and then rejoin me, okay? Good. I'm glad to see you're back. I just have a feeling, though, that most people didn't really take the time to pause and really think about it. They're just wondering where I'm going with this. Well, I believe in order for you to have a happy life, you have to have a purpose in your life. And the true purpose comes in the fact that you were made for a purpose. You can design your own purpose. You can try to create your own purpose, but it's much better to believe you were created for a purpose. I'm creating this video for a purpose. Whatever device you're looking at it on, it was designed for a purpose. Everything that someone creates has a purpose. And so we need to realize that there is a purpose for us. And that begins with the idea of a creator or a God. And so that would include that there is an existence of a world or something that we can't see. I can't see God. I don't know about you, but I can't see God. But does that necessarily mean it can't be true? And there's a lot of people who believe that. There's a lot of people who say, if I can't touch it, I can't see it or feel it or measure it, then it simply could not be true. But here's my illustration of that. For thousands of years, man has existed, and there's been a physical principle of what's called radio waves. Radio waves existed for eons, for this beginning of time. But yet man was totally unaware of radio waves until probably the last 150 years. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure of that, but it hasn't been a long time in the course of human history. And so right now, as you're sitting in wherever you're watching this, unless you're out in the most remote regions, there are radio waves that are surrounding you. They're passing through walls, they're passing through your body. And within those radio waves, there's text messages, there's videos, there's TV programs, there's radio programs. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's just a broad amount of information surrounding you, passing through you in the form of radio waves, and yet we're totally unaware of it. You know, there could be someone plotting the next terrorist plot, and that radio wave passed through you. And then there could be someone who has a great idea of how to save humanity. That's passing through you. There could be a husband and wife sharing love notes, or there could be a boyfriend and girlfriend arguing. You see what I'm getting at? There could be so much going on, and yet we have no clue because we can't see, feel, or touch radio waves. And so that's like the spiritual world, I believe. It's just simply a world that we're unaware of for the most part. But if you have a phone or a computer or a radio or a television or something like that, you can receive those radio waves and you can draw information out of those radio waves. And this is what happens is for the most part, most people in the world have a sense of a spiritual awareness, and not necessarily even like a God. Like maybe you saw a girl or a boy, and all of a sudden, just this overwhelming feeling of love came over you. And some people say, well, that's just a chemical reaction. It has nothing to do with a spiritual world. I say that's foolishness. There is something that has communicated, has connected, that's not visible. And sometimes you meet a person and just you get a feeling of uncomfortableness, and maybe even enter into a room or a building. There are spiritual feelings that we have. The world, most people recognize it. What's funny is there are people who say, "Oh, I can't see him, I can't feel him, so they must not exist." That's like someone who has a phone that's not connected to a network, and they can't find any information on it, and you're telling them, "Oh, I'm looking up all this information. I see the weather, I see this, I see that." They say, "That can't be because I don't see it on my phone, so you must not be able to." Well, that's essentially what they're doing. They're telling the people who can experience spiritual things, who can receive spiritual things, and they're telling them, "You're wrong. You can't be doing it because I can't do it." Well, since people didn't know radio waves exist, then it could be absolutely true that there's a spiritual world that exists. And for you to believe that, you to say that it doesn't exist would be foolishness. Just like there's probably things we just don't know about. I mean, no one ever probably thought there were radio waves. They couldn't even discover it because they didn't know there was anything to discover. And so as time goes on, we might find more things. But one thing I think there's a powerful argument for is that there's a spiritual world. And so what I want to do is I want to go in and take a look at that, and I want to help you understand that. And the one way that I think you need to give a chance to is the Bible. Now, right away, a lot of people may be shutting down the video, turning this off because they say, I don't believe that book, that old ancient book. Well, let me tell you, there's been a lot of lies perpetrated about the Bible. And there's been a lot of misunderstanding about the Bible. And I want to help you because it took me a lot of years to figure it out. And I'm not there yet, but I figured out a lot. And I would like to share that with you. I would like to share what the Bible says about who you are and about where you're going. And I guarantee if you grasp it the right way, you understand it the right way, it'll change your life. So please continue watching this series, and I would appreciate it. I'm going to try to turn it into a podcast. I'll have it here on my channel. So please hit the subscribe button. You can also click on that alert button so when a new one's posted, you'll know about it. And then share it with others. I would appreciate it. So have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye.